VAR! Get in there, baby! Let's go! Oh, for God's sake. Oh, every time we play away from home, I always get that feeling, mate. Ever since the Wolves game, it's just been stressful. In the last 10 minutes of every game, it's been so stressful. Palace win 2-1 away at home at the London Stadium. First win at the London Stadium away to West Ham. Went 1-0 down. Let's get into it. Quick review here of the game. Absolutely buzzing. As you can tell, massive win that puts Palace into the top 4 after 8 games. Obviously, we're not going to stay there. But just to say that and to look at the table and see that you're the 3rd best team as it stands in the league, you don't see that every day for a team like Palace. You don't see that every day at all. And so really, really exciting times, obviously, around the club. A great start to the season. And, this game, it's again, I went into saying I would definitely take a point. And to come away with more than that is absolutely amazing. So first half, of course, it was very, very, I'd say, even. I think there were some really good moves from West Ham, and West Ham kind of showed Palace how to go forward and how to dictate tempo in the attacking third. I thought that Palace, as an away team, set up really well, and I thought that there was some really nice passing play around the back and progressing into the midfield. The problem we had, I found, was when we got to the final third, tempo, which has been a problem for us this season, I'd say, in the final third, especially at home. Tempo was far too slow, and we just allowed the defence to have too much time to, get into position for West Ham. There were some points where Zaha you found him breaking through into the midfield with massive space around him. And then he'd slow it down a bit, try to lay it off, or he'd lay it off to a player, and then Van Aanholt in particular is one player I remember, slowed it down. And and then players got back into position and the chance was gone. We end up losing it or goes for a throw, whatever. Whilst West Ham, when they got the ball, you could see much quicker tempo, one-touch passing. And in fact, their goal came from some fantastic tempo in the second half, which we'll come on to in a minute. But the first half, I think, was just very, very even performance from both sides. I think Palace, you could say, slightly edged it just because I think we edged it on possession. That doesn't mean anything, but for Palace and for a Palace fan, I'd say that's quite a big deal because we always seem to let the opposition have the ball and try and just hold on, sometimes for dear life, but most of the time just hold on and look to break on the counter. For us to actually have the ball as an away side, try and dictate the tempo when we had it, as I said, apart from when we actually got into the final third, I thought was positive signs. And went into half time, I was actually quite happy with how we played. Obviously, could have made a better situation, or could have made a better outcome from some of the situations that we got ourselves into in the final third, which was a shame. But all in all, decent first half, something to build on for the second half. Second half, as we come out quite slowly, which is disappointing, and West Ham made us pay. They were fantastic, and that quick tempo, that quick passing in the final third, not allowing us to settle, really, really showed in that move for the goal. Unbelievable one-touch football. Really, really, the West Ham way, that West Ham fans like to talk about. If there's any goal that kind of represents, I think, what the fans talk about when they mention the West Ham way, it's that unbelievable football to get there. One-touch passing, drilled ball across out wide right to Fredericks. All in all, when the ball got out to Fredericks, I don't think there's much Palace could have done in the build-up. But when the ball got out wide to Fredericks, and obviously he assisted to Haller, or I should say, for the goal, I think that Van Aanholt could have done a lot more. One of his problems, Van Aanholt, is one-on-one defending, in my opinion. He doesn't get out to defend to the wingers quick enough, doesn't close down the angle, doesn't put enough pressure on wingers. And that showed again. He left too much space between him and Fredericks. Needed to get out a lot quicker, and Fredericks had all the time in the world really to pick the pass. He spotted Haller, and then again, really the cross should have been dealt with. We had 4 or 5 players all around Haller, and it just wasn't cut out. It got to him, and it was a lovely finish from Haller. And really, really sloppy. You'd expect us to cut out the cross at least. Not much we could have done in the build-up. It was just fantastic football from West Ham, and from that goal, and from that point, I thought we're going to struggle here. As I said in the preview, we really struggled at the London Stadium, and we haven't won there yet until obviously right now. But we going 1-0 down there, it's not a good sign for Palace. Normally, West Ham are definitely the better team when the two sides face each other. So, not looking good at that stage, but then a really good response from Palace. I say really good response. Actually, from the kickoff, West Ham obviously had a bit of momentum and they looked threatening again. They came close with another couple of chances. But then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, really, started growing into the second half a bit more. You can say that for Palace, but the actual goal came from nothing. So across to the back post, Kouyaté with a header across, and Rice, for some reason, his arm really high, away from his body, didn't even need VAR really. Oliver pointed straight to the spot, header hit Declan Rice's arm, no complaints, definite pen. And this was the discussion before the game and obviously during the game, who will take the penalty? Because obviously Lucas suspended for the game. I forgot to mention that in the preview, so I apologise. But Lucas suspended, who's going to take it? Van Arnold steps up. And when that happens, you think, right, they've definitely spoken about this in the week. They've definitely thought about this in the build-up. You know, normally you'd expect a winger or a striker to step up for a pen if your midfielder or your first choice penalty taker isn't available. But the fact Van Arnold stepped up, I think, shows that they've obviously worked on it in training. Van Arnold's probably the most confident or has been the most clinical from the spot, aside from Milivojevic behind the scenes in training, and he's felt confident enough to step up, which is great to see, and a fantastic penalty. And we keep our record of, I think since 2013, when we got the best record in the division for penalties. I think 38 out of 47 penalties scored since 2013, which is a massive deal. Really clinical from the spot, and we continue that fantastic penalty. Fair play to West Ham. I think they responded better after that goal. The goal goes in to level it up. Game on. Still half an hour or so to play. I think West Ham did step it up a little bit. Again, I think they showed good signs. Didn't really test Guaita at all in goal. Guaita, though, first half, I forgot to mention, amazing save. I think I tweeted about it. Obviously, follow me on Red and Blue Site if you haven't already. But fantastic save, and I tweeted about it straight away. I think he's one of the most underrated keepers in the league, honestly. I think he's outside the top 6 for sure, the best keeper in the league at the moment on form. But yeah, nothing really to trouble Guaita. It was very, very stale. It was kind of midfield battle, a lot of possession around the middle third of the pitch, not a lot in the final thirds. And then we started again, step it up. Roy waited very late for a substitute again. I think Pellegrini had all 3 subs come on by the time Roy actually thought about doing a sub. Brought Townsend on, and Townsend was actually started things off. And 10 minutes to go, we make our first sub. I think if we come away with anything other than a win, there would have been questions again over that with Roy. And I think there's still questions over how early or how late he does substitutions. I think that another case of why have you waited so long to do a sub at 1-1. Really, as soon as we got 1-1, I thought a sub would come on like Camarasa or something to try and, a player who's a bit more of a box-to-box, but also adds an attacking threat, of course. So I was a bit disappointed that Roy waited so late again to make a substitution. But Townsend was great again when he came on, and it was a good substitution, putting Schlupp into the midfield. And in the end, it was a really inspired substitution, because Schlupp moving into the middle, Zaha switching out to the other wing, Townsend on the right-hand side. I think that tactical change kind of, I wouldn't say threw West Ham, but it made them have to... They weren't prepared for that switch up, and I think they took them a few minutes to adjust. And in those few minutes, we had the ball come in really brilliantly. I think it was Schlupp who actually picked it up, and he crossed, or Schlupp brought it in. I think it went to Townsend. I'm sorry, it's such a adrenaline rush at the time. It's very hard to remember it off the top of my head right now. But the ball obviously came into Kelly, and he nodded it across. Kelly was just onside as well, which is good to see. But Kelly nodded it across to Ayew. And Ayew poked it in, but it was given as offside, of course, and then it went to VAR, and a very long wait for VAR actually. But watching it live, obviously on the screen, as you could tell, didn't go to the game. But watching it was so good to see how it all worked out, and that it was literally done perfectly to a T. There was no complaints, and that is why VAR. Whether it's, if that was West Ham who got that goal, I would be so gutted, obviously, but I would put my hands up and say, you cannot complain. VAR's just absolutely smashed that, So good to see that work so effectively, and it's always good when it's in your favour as well. Really, and to say you don't have that sort of, you lose the celebration in a goal when a VAR disallows it and you have to wait to see if it's going to be overturned, the decision, I think is rubbish. You saw the fans were celebrating, absolutely going mad. Ayew started celebrating again. It's like the goal had been scored again with that whistle. I was celebrating like mad with here. So it was, I think it was fantastic. And obviously we then see out, and I think game management, I've said it a few times in the past, has been a problem for Palace in winning positions. We managed the game with 6 minutes of injury time brilliantly. Some really good defensive displays in there. And I was just really happy to see overall fantastic away performance at ground where we have a really poor record against a team that's in form above us in the league. and we go above them and we're in the Champions League spots as it stands. And I know we're not going to stay there, and I know that it's just me getting carried away, just getting excited with where we're at in the league, but you don't get this every day. I go back to what I said at the start of the video. You don't get this every day as a Palace fan. Buzzing to see where we are. Fantastic away performance. Guys, if you liked my review, if you liked the video, if you liked the game itself and the fact Palace, we're on a roll right now at the start of the season for once, down below, like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share this out to other Palace fans, of course, and West Ham fans if you're watching. Very unlucky in the end. I do think that you deserve to get a point out of the game for sure. I thought there was something, the goal especially was fantastic football. And yeah, I think over the course of the season, I'm expecting you to finish above Palace playing that sort of football. But on the day, so happy we got the result. Thank you guys for watching. Come on, Palace. International break up, and then hopefully, you know, we go into the really tricky run of games that I mentioned before. Really tricky run, the next 5 games or so. No pressure on us at all. Up the Palace.